In the grim darkness of the far future, faith is forged in blood and fire. Living saints walk among the dead and the dying, clad not in gold but in ash, their eyes hollowed by divine revelation and the weight of unending war. They are not born of peace, but of agony, martyrs wreathed in flame, carved from suffering, raised to glory by the screams of the damned. They are no gentle saviors. They are weapons sanctified by the Emperor's will, revenants of righteousness who tread scorched worlds, leaving only ruin and miracles in their wake. The faithful kneel, the heretic burns, and through the smoke the saints endure. They truly are avatars of vengeance, whose light blinds as much as it saves. They are humanity's last prayers made flesh, and today we will see the terror that they do against none other than the Tau Empire. What is up, guys? It is the Sound Alchemist, and today I'm back to talk about Warhammer 40K. In this one, we are going over an excerpt from the Book of Martyrs, Martyrdom, Sister Anarchia, by none other than Phil Kelly. This talks about a living saint bringing divine retribution to the Tau Empire. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive into this 40K lore. A third emerged as they took position. She was a bit shorter than the rest, a power blade held tightly at her side. Behind her, a Xenos warsuit lay cloven in two, rippling cables of lightning playing across what remained of its blasphemous force field. With a sharp intake of breath, Anarchia realized the newcomer had forsaken her helm. But that was not the strangest thing about her. Where her bodyguards were covered head to toe in swamp muck, the swordswoman was spotless, her armor burnished and clean, without so much as a single droplet of water upon her, even as she splashed through the mire. Nixia Ameldus, the Saint of Swords. Anarchia raised her Stormbolter almost vertically, and added her own firepower to the fusillade. The three remaining battlesuits above them were pulling back to a middle distance, hoping to outrange them, and they would do so easily enough. The Tau had better sensor technology than the Imperium. This much was known, and their ability to pierce the miasma of grayish mist had given them the edge in every long-range fight thus far. In a matter of moments, the Tau would send a parting volley and disappear, only to return at 5 times the strength. Don't let them escape, for the love of Terra. Anarchia reloaded as she ran, watching in disbelief as Nixia Ameldus sprinted past her at twice the speed. A rain of plasma bolts shot through the mist towards the swordswoman. Even a glancing shot would have been the end of her, but the plasma did not touch her, not at first. All bar one of the shots stabbed down into the swamp water to blast craters of harmless steam. The last of the stray bolts hit a fallen canister of flamer fuel, left lying in the muck of Mandine, and the blast of fire detonated right next to the saint's leg, sending knives of shrapnel flying out. The swordswoman was caught bodily in a blossom of flame, scorched and smoking out of the fight. But the flames did not behave as they should have. Instead of vanishing swiftly into the air, the explosion formed a vortex of fire, an orange and yellow tornado that whirled around the swordswoman to bear her into the air. She held out her arms in loose gesture of Benedictine as she shot towards the retreating battlesuits, blade held lightly in her hand. Another burst of plasma fire poured out, tracking her advance, but the shots were whipped away by the strange storm of fire, as if they were mere cinders caught in the wind. Then she closed the distance and began to kill. That silver blade was a revelation, cutting through the tank-grade alloy of the Xeno warsuits as if it was made of no more than just clay. She slashed through a weapon barrel with a contemptuous swipe, causing it to malfunction in a gout of plasma that set fire to the warsuit's arm. She then lanced the tip of her blade right through its chest and into the alien pilot within. For a moment, Anarchia saw the flames whirling around the saint as a pair of mighty wings, spread wide and high like those of a soaring eagle. "For thy trespasses upon the Emperor's domain," cried out Nixia Ameldus, "I bring thee death." Jets roaring, another Xeno warsuit came into view. Its cylindrical flamer jetted a spurt of fire that billowed out to consume the swordswoman. The third of the trio did the same, the two concentrating their weaponry in a sustained fusillade. The swirl of fire around the woman grew into an inferno, but it did not so much as singe a single hair upon her head. Anarchia caught a glimpse of Imelda as the fire shimmered and roared, and could have sworn the woman smiled. Raising her storm bolter, Anarchia sent a volley of shots, blasting the warsuit off kilter just as the swordswoman lunged towards it. This time, that shimmering sword took its censer head from its neck in a crackle of electricity. Blinded, the blasphemous machine thing boosted backwards, but Anarchia had already read its intent. The storm bolter boomed, and the double shot exploded to send the suit veering away towards the copse of trees in the west. Gun cherubs squawked, and the quad-barreled gun hidden within coughed out its fueled ammunition before opening fire. The battlesuit was punched out of the sky by a volley of anti-tank shells, the width of Anarchia's forearm. The last battlesuit was intensifying its fire, missiles streaking from its shoulder mount towards the swordswoman. They detonated prematurely within the searing inferno, the shockwaves of each explosion buffeting the saint, but never stopping her. She came in fast, the whirling fire blazing out of the body of some sacred god dragon in a trail behind her. Now the missiles on the suit's launcher cooked off, ripping open the weapon systems and much of the suit's shoulder as the woman came in closer. The tornado of fire roared so intensely that it melted the alloy of the stricken battlesuit. She cut the molten slurry away with her blade, glowing cherry-red goblets drizzling down to hiss in the cold swamp water beneath. Anarchia thought she could make out a screaming alien face within the battlesuit's torso, flesh blackening as its eyes popped in the impossible heat. The swordswoman reached out and pressed 2 fingers into its forehead, collapsing its skull as if it were paper thin. Then the tornado of fire whirled outwards, flames licking the leafless trees of the nearby copse as the women gradually descended down into the swamp water to land amongst a cloud of hissing steam. "By the grace of the Emperor," said Anarchia, "this day I witness a miracle." A faint roaring sound swelled in her oral pickups. Audible now, the crackle of the flaming tornado was receding. To the west, in the middle distance, the air was lousy with Tau skycraft. They were coming in fast. Flashes of light up ahead. Anarchia broke into a run, fearing the worst. Faint lances of energy were arrowing down from the mist, large caliber pulse weapons concentrating on something just beyond the trees. She heard the deep bass thunder of a heavy bolter, saw explosions blossoming into thin clouds, a battle of sorts, but not a fair one. She splashed through the swamp, hopping against hope to hear something other than a single heavy bolter's roar to set against the hiss of the Tau's weaponry. But nothing. The thunder of Imperial gunfire became staccato, then died out altogether. One of the skycraft listed, then crashed down into the swamp, another ablaze behind it. The pulses of light came again, a sustained barrage, before the skycraft peeled away. They did not go far, curving around to land in a larger clearing to the east. Anarchia ran hard, her heart in her mouth, swamp water splashing against her in great fuming fountains. She knew she should have followed her closer. Even one more warrior could have made the difference here. That was a lie, and she knew it. She would have died too. 4 Adeptus Sororitas against a fleet of heavily armed skycraft. Yeah, they had no chance at all. Even if one of them had been a living saint, she could not believe that they could come out victorious. But there she was, Nixia Imelda, lying in a pool of blood, with the plasma-torn remains of her bodyguards floating in the swamp around her. The whole scene was lit by the burning remains of 3 skycraft, one with its cockpit shorn through so cleanly that its alloy glowed orange in the firelight. The saint herself had been shot right in the heart, and one of her legs was a ragged stump. Anarchia cried out, tears coursing down her cheeks to pool along her chin where it met her helm. She pressed the rune of release on her gauntlet and it slid off, pressing her bare hand against the fallen woman's cheek. "Don't die, Nixia," she said. "Please, you cannot die here." The fallen saint smiled up at her, not a trace of pain or fear in her features. I am already dead, she said softly. We all are, in the end. Not whilst one of us still lives. I will carry on the fight. You will have to, brave Anarchia. You must become the Emperor's blade. But how? She felt terribly, horribly alone. How can I stop them? You know how, said the saint, nodding. Her smile was faint, but it seemed a radiant dawn after a night of horrors. In your heart, you know their leader must be slain, beloved sister. It is the only way to break them. She turned and kissed Anarchia's bare hand, as gentle as a mother to a child. And with that being said, this is the end of the excerpt from the Book of Martyrs, Martyrdom and Sister Anarchia. So as you can see, the fight is just getting started. We have a lone sister of battle going up against the entirety of the Tau on this swamp-filled world. Can she slay the ethereal, or will she go down and meet the Emperor alongside her fallen sisters? I, for one, greatly recommend this novel. I've read it before, and it's definitely one of the better ones that involve the Tau. But again, guys, let me know what other topics you want me to cover. More lore about the Sisters of Silence, more lore about the Sisters of Battle, or any other warrior women of the Imperium. But for now, that's all I got, and thanks again for watching, listening, sharing, subscribing, and commenting. This has been The Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.